saw Brad out for 5 to 7 weeks. How does that affect your approach heading into the first couple months of the season?
It's a team game. We have plenty of good players. We'll miss him. We'll make do.
What's Oniel Fisher's status? And
Coming back on the concussion protocol.
are you expecting him?
He should be ready for Saturday.
And then in your next right back would be Svensson.
Could be either one.
Yeah. Do you? Where do you envision Henry Wingo? His best position right now?
Right now, he's a really talented young player who can probably play multiple positions. I haven't decided which one he's going to do.
When you have such a talent in a young player, do you feel like it's better to just put him out there, get him going, or is it just about taking him slowly into the rotation?
Well, Henry hasn't had the opportunity to go slowly because we put him in. You know, he was one or two subs in my last game, so he's going to play. So that's a little bit faster route, maybe. Obviously, Jordy last year could have been the top example of someone jumping in right away. Henry's not quite at that level, but there's certainly opportunities for Henry to play.
Brian, you had objectives before the season starts. Now that you're almost ready to go, how are you feeling about those? You're probably going to tell us, but are you feeling comfortable, a little behind?
With the objectives for this season?
Yeah.
The objective is to try and get these guys on short rest back up to a high level. That's the objective. And in that sense, I think the two preseason camps have done their jobs. Have we played the best soccer? No. Are we capable of playing better soccer? Unequivocally, yes. So, we're somewhere in between. And we're just, work hard on it. We'll watch a little film today. We'll watch film tomorrow in Houston. We'll train tomorrow. And we'll try and get it right.
Where's Steph at, health-wise? Is he
Good.
ready to get the start
Yeah,
this weekend?
he's good.
Do you think you'll have Clint in the starting lineup?
I would think there's a pretty high probability of that.
We haven't seen much of Aaron Kovar in preseason. What's the nature of what's keeping him out?
He's got another groin area issue. I'll have to get specifics on exactly what they're allowing me to say, but he won't be available for the first game.
Ozzy Alonso played 60 minutes here in the last game. How do you see his fitness coming along and kind of looking into the first game of the season?
Well, because of his injury in end of last year, he's a little bit behind. But I know Ozzy very well. He'll get there, and he'll be as good as always.
What are your thoughts on facing Dylan Remick in Houston?
Dylan's a nice kid. Did a good job for us. Lots of guys trade teams around the league, and we're always happy to see friendly faces.
And speaking of Houston, 3 draws last year. Going down to Houston, very tough place to play for anyone really. How do you?
Not this time of year. If you're talking about the Heat, if you're talking about the fact that they're a good team, then yes, it's a difficult place to play. Yes.
Staying on the Houston subject, Will Bruin, what have you seen out of him? How good has he been? And maybe in the 9th position, is that something where you might slot him in, or is there other positions?
Well, Will's a forward, if you want to call it a 9 or whatever you want to do. He's a forward. He's an attacking player, so that's where he'll play. We're not going to put him at right back. So we will just use Will whenever the situation demands it. Starter, reserve, coming off the bench, whatever. He's a good kid, hardworking kid, and he's enjoying his time here so far.
Early in the season, how do you scout a team that hasn't had a regular season?
We watch all their preseason games. We have those games on film. We're digesting those now.
Coach, you have a lot of road games packed right here at the start of the year. What are the particular challenges of trying to get momentum going with the team when you're playing away from home so much?
Well, one very important factor is that we've always traditionally been a pretty good road team. So yeah, I get it. The stats in our league say that home teams win more often. I understand that, but we've always been competitive on the road, and I think this team just needs to get back on the saddle, get into some competitive games, and then we'll see where we end up. But we want to win every single game, and we'll devise tactic, strategy to win in Houston, in Montreal, and then we'll be happy to play in front of a lot of loud fans in our home opener.
You mentioned there's a couple things that you need the team to get better on. Can you be a little more specific on that? Is it position play, transition, anything in particular that needs to work on?
No, it's just creating chances. We need to do a better job of creating chances in the attack. We did that little statistics last year where if we had X amount of percentage and X amount of shots on goal and open play crosses, we come out and we win games. So we need to make sure that those numbers, we're creating enough to score goals. Then on the flip side of that, defensively, I think we're pretty good, but it always takes practice, practice, practice. You can't rest on your laurels, and I'm not going to give those guys a break, including Steph. He's got to work at it too, because we want to be, again, a solid defensive team.
Seemed like Clinton, Jordan, and Nico were just starting to gel right as Clint went out last year. I mean, how do you feel about the prospect of them being back together, and does it seem like they're regaining that chemistry?
The prospect is great, and then we have reality when Jordy dings up his ankle and we can't have Jordy for the last game. So it's a work in progress. I don't want anybody to be too anxious if they don't quite get it like they had the last 4 last year. They will get it because they're all really tremendous soccer players. So I have high expectations, but I think it's still a work in progress.
Much like Brad, Svensson can obviously play a number of positions. I mean, you haven't had him very long, but that versatility, how important is that to you? How valuable is that right now to you?
Right now it's valuable. Gustav would probably tell you, or maybe even told you, that he'd like to settle in a position, and we'll work on that throughout the course of the season. But what I like is he's a team guy, and he would sacrifice parts of his game to help the team, and that's the kind of player you want as a coach.
Coach Brian, you've been switching from turf to natural grass. How do you find the training field today?
It's great. Training field is great. It's a sunny day out, keeping everybody warm.